What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, we are talking about how to develop a strong core for rodeo athletes, for just being strong for everyday life as well. And we're going to give you guys some exercise examples, some ideas of what to do, how to scale it down for different skill levels, all the things. We're jumping into it right now. Gentlemen, how are we today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love how Logan says we started and he goes, and 3, 2, 1, internet goes to shit. And literally, we press record.
As soon as we, anymore. Yeah, I don't know exactly what goes on my end, but everything's fine. It's like great quality. And then once we start recording, I guess it starts using more. Or, I don't know. But my internet quality always goes as soon as we hit, and then as soon as we're done with the podcast, it's like back to normal. I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Well, and that's the good thing about like this platform that we use or whatever to record on is like the quality comes out good on the other side.
Yes, yeah, as what you're seeing.
It's just a little tricky sometimes when we record because it's
it is.
There might be a lag or somebody freezes or something.
Yeah, so if our words start crossing over each other or interrupting each other, that's occasionally what is happening. Is we're just a little behind on what we're hearing and seeing.
What he's really saying is it's my fault.
Just
it's
like
It's AT&T. Yeah. So it's AT&T, and I mean it would help. We just don't have good internet service out here, like an internet provider, and so we have hotspots on our cell phones, and that's what I use, and so it's easy for me to blame AT&T. I do a lot off that hotspot though, so at some point in time, I'm hoping when we move, we can get some good internet. So fingers crossed.
I'm bitching about the internet now, but Montana is going to be way worse.
Yeah, no kidding. You better hope you got access to Starlink or whatever.
So Starlink doesn't work in the little hole that we're in. The lady tried it. She said it's like it is.
You're like right in a valley, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. And Carmex. Yes, I love this stuff. I do. I think it's addictive. I don't know how, but I think
so too. They put something in it that makes you want to put it on like more often.
All the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Smell, feel. It's awesome. Anyways,
maybe there's like nicotine in the
right? Oh, dude, now that's a thought right there. Ditch the chewing. We just got nicotine Carmex.
Yeah. Boom. I mean, they do everything else.
People just spooling this stuff, eating it off the stick. But back to the internet in the valley. Verizon is the only thing that works apparently in that little hole that we're in. But I guess they're running. What's it called? The lines, fiber optic lines. Out to there this summer. Nice. So hopefully it'll be right on that transition line of we missed out on Douglas having a minor meltdown every time we podcast because his internet is so poor.
Or else the podcast is going to be his smoke signal. We're like doing a smoke signal podcast from now on. If you can see where Doug lives, you'll be able to interpret the podcast. Other than that,
come on over. You can check us out.
I've got the highest like Wi-Fi that I can get here. It's like the 1 gig speed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's really fast. But they're supposed to be running that fiber optic out to this neighborhood, but probably not before we end up buying a house and moving too. So,
are you guys thinking about staying in the same area when you move?
Yeah, probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's land value there? Is it crazy?
Man, it depends. Like it really depends because you could find something for $5,000 an acre that you're going to have to do some clearing on. Maybe it's not like in the valley or something, but then if you've got any type of view or you're close to the water, like it goes,
way up.
Stuff on the river is like $100,000 an acre. So it's like it really like it can be $5,000 an acre. It could be $100,000. Just depends on where you're at. And
yeah, Colorado is not like that. So it's just all expensive.
Just expensive everywhere.
There's no finding cheap stuff. It was just outrageous.
Patch of dusty
it's
dirt with a
crazy.
cactus on it, and it's...
Yes, that's exactly right. I've looked at houses out there to see what the possibility is of us maybe moving out there or whatever. When Doug was there, like, hey, let's look. And what we could buy out there for our price range, we can get like a little tiny patch of dirt, like less than an acre in a house, or over here in our price range, we can get 10 acres and a 4-bedroom home with, 2 bathrooms and a barn. It's just insane, the difference.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what we were looking at like we were looking back at Texas too when we had been searching in Colorado because we were just so over it. Like I wasn't about to spend money like that on something that I had to that looked like it was straight out of the Brady Bunch, and I couldn't do it. So when we were looking at Texas, it's like I could have gotten double the land, triple the house for like half the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hot.
Yeah,
as
dude, Texas is
there.
wild. Like you can get super nice houses for little compared to most places in the country.
Yeah, I'm excited to be going to Montana though. Al is too. She just got a job, got the final offer, so we're good to go there.
That's
and we're all
awesome.
set up for our next little chapter here. Yeah, we're really excited about it, and
did that kind of put her mind at ease a little bit?
I think so. It's going to be very different than what she's used to. So she's at a level 1 ER that has every single resource you could ever imagine. They deal with a lot of things, a lot of crazy things, you know. And this is a critical access hospital, so it is rural, and it's like they don't have a lot of resources there. I take that back. They have a good setup from what I hear. I don't know a whole lot about this, so I'm just going off of what I'm hearing from her, but it's just they don't have the people. They have 2 people on, one person is watching the whole ICU. 8 beds. It's usually 1 nurse to 2 beds at a regular hospital. So, they're 45 minutes in ambulance getting to that hospital. So someone shows up there, having some kind of issue, they're the only thing that can save that person, So I guess the best way it was explained to me is it's like cowboy nursing. Like you got to just make it work.
Well, and you think about the type of stress that she's going to be dealing with too is probably going to be a lot different. Like it's not going to be near as many like gunshot wounds and
probably a lot slower. Too.
Yeah. You're going to have like ranching and farming accidents
or older people, stroke, heart attack, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a point of like if someone gets hurt out on the ranch or out in the wilderness, like that's their first stop. And so I'm sure she will see some pretty crazy stuff, but it will be definitely a different pace.
Cougar attacks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, grizzly attacks. I don't know. Who knows?
I've been attacked by a cougar
but
before.
it'll be different kind of cougar, bud.
This one's nails were painted.
Yeah, ripped my favorite Krista Gale t-shirt. Learned absolutely nothing about driving a race car.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack. I couldn't help myself.
Oh, you're good. You're good. So junior rodeo went really well this weekend.
Yeah,
or at least from what I saw, it looked really well.
Yes, it did. It went really good. It was Kanan's first time. So we've the last 2 summers really been trying to condition him up to the sheep riding because he seems to really enjoy it. It's all he wants to do is ride bulls at this stage. So 2 years ago, I held on to him and had somebody hold on to the sheep. He would have been just barely 2 years old. And then the year after, I just held on to the sheep. And this year, it's kind of the first year just setting Willie free and letting him figure it out. And I knew that first one, he was going to eat it. There's no possible way that I can like catch him or grab him. He's just going to, I had high expectations of him like riding a pretty good ways because we've been practicing here at home and he spends a lot of hours doing it. But I knew, all right, this will tell when he just like digs a trench with his helmet. Is he going to want to pop back up and do it again or not? Because at this point, he hasn't had that really. So he did really good. He rode. He got a little off balance, but the sheep were a little faster than what we've got at home, which is good for him. And he did really good. And he ate it pretty hard and popped right up and was fine. So that's a win. And we didn't get to go again on Sunday. He started running a fever that evening, and so we thought it was best to he was fine Sunday morning, acted normal. Who knows? But we thought it was better with school on Monday to just stay home. And so anyway, we didn't get to go the second time, but it was great. He won second in the dummy roping, and the kid that beat him, his dad is a team roping producer. Okay, like your dad's a bareback rider. All right, like so, second, we'll take it. He slickhorned one. Never slickhorned anything in his life. I rope with him every day. Never seen him slickhorn one ever. Boom, first one out. I'm like, okay, go ahead. So he did good. He won second, and then we were a little long in the goat tail untie, and our goat was a little wily. But the highlight of the weekend would be Callan doing the goat tail untying, because he's
video.
just, he's so proud of himself when he finally gets the ribbon. And luckily we had a goat that wasn't super wild and would actually stand there and let him get it. And man, he just held both hands in the air. I told him, when you get the ribbon, you got to throw your hands in the air. So he just stands down there with both fists raised, like conquering the goat, got the ribbon. He's just holding his hands up for like 5 or 6 seconds.
Wave.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's like, all right, get out of the way. And he's like, no, I did it. So it was a great weekend. It was super enjoyable.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. What do you guys do, Paul?
Man, we just kind of hung around. There was a lot of like activities going on in the community this weekend, so we just kind of did a bunch of different stuff. We had the Cotter Trout Festival, which was really fun to go to. It's just basically like a little trade show type deal out on the river. That park that you and I stopped and ate lunch at on the riverbank is where they have it, and so like they'll have a bunch of vendors and stuff.
Oh, the guide was telling us about that.
Yep.
And they showed the movies on that wall there and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that they're doing later this month, the fly fishing film tour. So might make it home from Colorado for that, might not. I'm not sure. It's gonna be on the border there, but yeah, it's in that same spot, and they were giving away a brand new Supreme riverboat, and so I bought all the tickets I could afford to try and win it, and didn't win it. So there's that. I've never won anything in a drawing before.
I know,
so
me neither.
I mean, maybe I should just stop leaving.
Or it's coming, so you should just keep going.
I don't know. Yeah, see, that's that lottery.
That's why I get
trouble
gambling.
Trouble. Yeah. Yeah, that gets in people in big trouble.
Why I get myself in trouble gambling.
Yeah. So we did that, and yesterday went just had church and went out to eat with my buddy Tyler and his kids, and just chilling at the house.
Sweet.
Yep.
Heck yeah. That's good. We I met up with Skip Ransom. If you guys follow Ransom Notes on Instagram, we went fishing for a day. It was a good time. Got a little bit sunburnt, but it was awesome to get outside and just, I didn't even look at my phone all day. It was the best thing ever. I loved it. I miss you don't realize how just tied to that thing you are, especially when you're working remotely or working from home, or, that is where your work is on the phone all the time. And then you get to put it down for a day and you get back to it. You're like, whoa, that was great. that was very nice. But we had, it was nice to get some sunlight, some time on the water. It's just always a good restart.
You guys catch some big ones?
We got some pretty good fish, man. Nothing huge, but it was a lot of fun, man. Always, it's just good to be out with the guys and messing around and hiking around, doing all the stuff. It's good. But rodeo wise, we had some guys kick ass this weekend. But I want to talk about Dean Thompson's right. He's not even our client, but him on Gunfire in Guyman 92.5, I think. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was just rank.
Give him all
dirty
the points.
Rank. And I know he
can have
give him all the points. That's right.
Your own score.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he definitely earned and deserved that one. So I don't know if he listens to this, but proud of you, dude. Keep it up. Keep moving. Like, you're setting the pace for this next generation. Him and his whole group of guys are. Isn't it him, Sam? What's the other one?
Keenan Hayes is in that group, I think, of rookies. And there's like 2 or 3 more that I'm forgetting that I'm going to offend because they're wolves as well. There's a crazy rookie.
Yeah, and I think well, I don't know if I've looked recently, but at one point there was like 5 of them in the top 15.
Keenan's got like 95 grand one. It's like, holy smokes!
I am so glad that he does, because last year he had like 80,000 on his permit, and everybody was like, "You should have bought your card." What happens if you don't? And this is a situation in which, like, man, he stuck to his guns on his goal, and he waited, and here we are. Okay, like, while there's a long way to the end of the season, it's looking very promising that he'll go, which is great.
Yeah, it's as long as he stays healthy and continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be at his first NFR for sure. I think we're going to see a good handful of guys at their first NFR this year. I think we'll start seeing that next generation of guys, more of them slipping in like Rocker's generation of guys. And we're going to start seeing some of those older athletes kind of filter out that are, not able to keep up, you know?
I just checked. There is still 5 of them in the top 15.
Yeah, who are they again?
Sam, Luke Thrash, Dean Thompson, Cade Saunier, and Keenan Hayes.
Yeah, Cade and Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cade's been kicking butt.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for all those guys. I love seeing this next generation of bareback riders coming up. And it's exciting, man. And they're working hard, which is cool. This is the first generation I think we're seeing that this kind of preparation is normal for them, right? They started preparing at a younger age. Sam, I think, was working out with us when he was 16. So, you know, think about a kid that was 16, started preparing, continued doing those things, and now is at the elite level of professional rodeo. And not just entering, he's winning and winning it on big stages, which is cool. And I think is going to set the trajectory for the sport and for everybody from here on out. So if you're not working, you better get to work, because these kids are coming to take your money.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of working, Josh Frost,
dude,
wrapped up the Velocity
I'm so fired
finals.
up for that dude.
Yep.
He is such a badass.
50 grand in his pocket, and he'll be heading to the World Finals. I think this podcast will come out the week that the World Finals is, or the day after the World Finals wraps up. So
okay,
hopefully there's still some good news there, and he's kicking ass at the World Finals right now. But
I have a really good feeling there will be.
Yeah, and he's declared for the draft, so that'll be really exciting to see where he goes. I'm assuming him and Sage will probably go, first or second pick. So one of them is going to probably go to Carolina, and then I can't remember who has second pick. But
it's tough, man. I think it's badass. I think that's so cool that they're going in the draft, and we're seeing more guys than just PBR guys starting to reach out and see how that opportunity is incredible to be a part of this team's deal. But also, you don't get a whole lot of control over where you're going if you enter the draft. You enter the draft and you get picked, and that's it. So you could have high hopes of going to a team, but if the team before them, says, I don't give a shit and we want you, you're going, and you kind of have to deal with that and make it work. Or, I don't know if they do trades or things like that yet.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So there's lots of ways they can make things work, I'm sure, but I selfishly want both of those guys on my team. Obviously, I'm like, Ridge Riders, let's go pick those dudes up so we can have the ball in his team ever. Yep. But Josh is incredible. Like, not just his ability of riding bulls, but his work ethic, his coachability levels. Like, he invests in himself a lot, in his mental game, in his physical game, in his nutrition, all of these things. And when he invests in them, he is 100% bought in. What I mean by that is whatever is in that program, whatever the coach says, whether it's me, whether it's his mental coach, he's doing it, and he's trying, and he's using those exercises, and he's practicing those things, and he takes it to heart, and it works because he is consistent and trusts the process. How many athletes do we get? They sign on and they try and tell us what they think they need to be doing. It's like, dude, if you just paid me X amount of dollars for 6 months or a year contract for me, because I'm the professional at this, because I know what I'm doing. You are paying me because you do not know what you're doing, and that's okay. That's the whole point. But why question what's going on when that's what you're paying for, right?
Absolutely.
Trust the process, do the work, and you're going to see the results. The reason that you're not seeing the results now is because you don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. That's why you hire professionals. Same thing though. Like, you're a bull rider or a horse rider or a roper. That's your profession. It is not your job to know everything about working out.
Nope.
So invest in yourself, hire someone to tell you what to do working out, do those things, and watch what it'll do for your game in the arena, because that's the things right? Sorry, rant over.
No, that's 100%. It's crucial.
One of the things that's so impressive about Josh is he's been like a slow burn. Like, we get used to seeing a lot of these rough stock guys that are like great at 18, 19 years old, and then they just maintain that for, until their body gives out. And Josh was like, kind of following in the footsteps of his brother, didn't really have the best year on his permit. Or he did. He had a really great year on his permit, but then I think it was his rookie year that didn't really live up to it. And then, he's like, since then, gotten better every single year. Like, he's not stagnant. He's not declining. He gets better every single year that he's out. And like, he's a lot of fun to watch. And now he's literally like one of the elite guys. And I don't think he's done yet. Like, I think he still has room to keep improving. Like, he could be, he's gonna, he's going to set some records in his own way, before it's all said and done.
Agreed. Logan, what were you saying, bud?
I'm just saying we're in that transitional period, where guys have been, if they've been training, they've been doing it on their own up until this point within the last couple of years. And so I think that's a lot of why we're seeing this, shift. People are apprehensive to turn over their training, but just like with running a company or anything, man, you always hire out the things that you don't have to do. So you can focus solely on the things that only you can do. There are certain things within Champion Living that only the owner and founder of the company can do. That's what you should focus on. And that's what we've done a really good job of, I feel like, is dispersing some of the other responsibilities among the coaches so that you have more time to focus on the stuff that moves the company forward, and other coaches can focus on some of the day-to-day. It's the exact same principle. Hire out and invest people that study, whether it's the body or whether it's bareback riding or whatever your event is. Invest in yourself and find professionals in that field that can take you to the next level, because your trial and error, well, sure, that's probably the most effective way to learn, because you don't want to make those mistakes again. It certainly takes you a lot longer to get to the end result than if you hired a professional.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a principle that any successful business owner would probably tell you is they never want to be the smartest person in the business. They're always trying to hire somebody that knows how to do something way better than what they can do. And that's something that I've tried to do myself is, take that into my own context is okay, now I need to surround myself with people that are way better than I am. And make sure that I'm learning from that and not trying to inject my own closed-minded or maybe ignorant perspective into what I'm trying to learn from them, but just literally absorb everything that I possibly can.
Yep. I think if you're a young rodeo athlete or rodeo athlete in general, from this conversation right here, you need to see that you are a business. This whole thing is a business. You need to treat rodeoing like your LLC. And so start looking at those things as entities of the business rather than, I don't know, stuff you have to cross off your to-do list, or damn, I got to go work out today. It's no, that's just part of my business. I'm a professional athlete. I have to go work out. Oh, I got a meal prep. No, same thing. You're a professional athlete. You need to fuel yourself properly so you can perform well, so you can win money. It's just part of what the process is. And dude, it goes all the way down to your finances even. If you don't know what to do with your money and investing it, hire somebody that does, so that money is working for you after you're done rodeoing. That's the whole point of all of these things we're listing out, and all these resources that Western Sports Foundation provides, that we provide at Optimal Performance Academies. We didn't have any of these things, and we didn't know about these things when we were rodeoing and going. You guys do now, and you have all these resources in front of you that are, when it comes to the cost and what you take away for it with your life, it's minimal. It's tiny. So make that investment in yourself, hire people, reach out to people mentors. Even there's a lot of people that will just help you in the beginning, especially if you can't afford it, but reach out, use your resources, use people. I'm sure you've heard this saying a million times: life isn't what you know, it's about who you know. Half of that, I would say, is pretty damn true. You definitely need to be you have to know a little bit, but if you can get tied in with the right people, you learn so much more, and then you are able to use those things in the future, right? So I think it's really important to use all resources anytime, no matter what stage you're in. Be learning, be growing, and you'll see success. Let's talk about core strength, guys. Something we get asked a lot about, and I think we hear every single person I ever talk to be a potential client or is a client now. Well, that when you're on their consult call, I need to strengthen my core, right? What do you think the biggest misconception about the core is?
Where do I start?
I think the biggest, I'm just going to go with where I'm going with it is they think it's just the front.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Yep.
And the core is the entire circle, the circumference of your trunk, all those muscles that surround everything from your belly, your, abdominal muscles, all the way around to that posterior chain. And I would even venture into saying into the hip flexor group. So if you could draw a line, about a third of the way down your quads from your hips from there, and then draw another line, I don't know, right above your nipples.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
I think that's your core. That entirety, front to back and circular, is your core. And so when we hear it, athletes, they're like, I want a six-pack, or clients, I want a six-pack. Well, what have you been doing? We're doing sit-ups, a lot of them, 200
Crunches.
a day. Cool. You have been working the same muscle group over and over and over, and you haven't touched any other bit of your core, right? And so I think that the biggest misconception is that it's just the front side of your body from in your belly, essentially. People are missing the fact that when I think of core, like it's your center, it's what's holding everything together. And so that should be a full encompassing thing. And you have to work on all ranges of movement, all planes of movement in your core as well, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is one of the biggest misconceptions that I run into is that everybody just wants to train their core in one plane. You know, they just want to do a lot of, like you said, sit-ups. They want to do crunches, they weighted stuff. They're just training it in that one plane. But during the course of, if we're going off of rodeo, during the course of a bareback ride or a saddle bronc ride, you have all kinds of forces pulling on your upper body from all over the place that you're having to resist rotation. You're having to use your core in so many ways. And while I'm certainly not trying to just take a dump on crunches, I mean, there's a time and a place for them. The core training, like you said, is so much more than just that sagittal plane movement up and down, crunches and sit-ups and so on and so forth.
The misconception that you brought up, what peeves me about it is like a six-pack don't mean shit when it comes to
It means they're not eating enough.
It's a fact.
Does not mean a thing. Like, we'll talk about, like, you know, how to get a six-pack later on when we talk about nutrition, but like having a visible six-pack does not mean that you have a strong core, like in any way, shape, or form.
And
So
with
that's what gets me.
That's really, really important because, and me and Logan were just talking about this the other day, having a six-pack has absolutely nothing to do with being a competitive athlete. Like, you having a six-pack does not mean that you can ride bucking horses or rope faster or steer wrestle better or run. Like, it doesn't correlate at all. If you look at some of the strongest people out there, some of the most incredible athletes, they don't have six-packs. They're just really strong and dense everywhere. They're athletic, they're electric, they can explode quickly, they're strong, but they're not working out to get a six-pack.
Their body fat percentage below what would be optimal for their athletics.
That's the thing.
Then they would have a big six-pack.
Yes,
like,
the body fat percentage is so important. Yes.
But
you can't operate at under 12%. Exactly.
Yeah, 12 to 15% is optimal when it comes to body fat percentage, which is not going to be a shredded six-pack. And that's where a lot of times people are like, well, I want to get rid of this little pouch. Like, listen, at the end of the day, especially this time of year, we're coming into the spring. You're about to be on the road pretty soon. Yeah, because the amount of food that you're going to eat is about to go way down. Your energy expenditure is about to go way up, because where we've been getting on, 3 bucking horses a week, we're about to get on 5 to 7 for the next 3 months. I promise.
And timed event people are roping twice in a rodeo sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're sitting, but you're not eating as much. Like I'm telling you, you are typically speaking. I can say this. Typically speaking, we see rodeo athletes lean out as the summer goes. And so coming into this time of year, my goal for you is not to be shredded, because that is not an indicator in any way, shape, or form of your capability for performance, but having you somewhere in that 12 to 15% body fat range, depending on a lot of different factors. But that's going to be optimal for athletes, for high performance athletes across the board.
Absolutely. And the reason that we see injuries start happening later in the season is because guys are getting so low on that body fat percentage. There is no protection for you. Your hormones are a little bit out of whack because all of the things are happening. And that's why we see guys fall apart. And that's why you see guys also that are taking care of themselves, that did all of these things we're talking about. And this doesn't have much to do with the core. I know we kind of sidetracked, but they're winning a shitload of money in August and September because no one else can keep going. And that's why we always say end of August, that's when it starts. Like, that is the fourth quarter. It's like 4 weeks, but it is the make or break. It can get a guy from 30th place to the NFR. No problem. And we saw LB do that. Leighton Berry came back from an injury and literally rode for 2 months and went from like 60th place to, I think it was 16th.
Yeah. Yeah, up there.
In like, it was nuts. But it's definitely possible, and that's where a guy is going to win the most money, and that's where you want to be finishing strong. Who gives a shit how you're doing right now? All this is just, you're just what's the word? Like anteing up. It's just your ante every time, because
I tell
what it really
clients they're
takes is getting
dialing it
through the
in.
end.
Yeah, we're just dialing it in. We're working on equipment. We're working on what do we need to work on at home. Yes, sure. Winning Rodeo Houston is extremely helpful. And the money that you win now, yeah, of course it counts for world standings. And I'm not trying to say that it's not important. But if we can just be hungry, happy, healthy, coming into mid-July through September, that's all lights are green from that point on.
Yep, absolutely. Let's go back to the core real quick and kind of break down the muscle groups of the core. And we're going to do this really simply. I'm not going to get all scientific with it, but basically four areas of the core that I want to touch on here. Transverse abdominis is our deepest layer of our core. That is going to control a lot of our inner abdominal pressure. So when you're bracing your core, when you're lifting and things like that, that is, I can literally feel mine expand when I do that, but it's going to be deep in there. And that's very important for bracing, staying tight, creating stability. Next one, rectus abdominis. That's our 6-pack muscles. That's what everybody is sitting here saying. I want these to be stronger. What people are disregarding or not doing is usually our obliques, usually that rotational transverse plane of movement. And in rodeo, I'm going to venture to say that is the most important thing as a rodeo athlete that you need to be doing for your core, is working on your obliques, internal and external obliques. You guys got any examples for that?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that that's where a lot of people they go wrong, in that they ignore that completely. And so and a lot of it, a common exercise that you might see for rotation is a Russian twist, which is a fine exercise. I think it that's one that most people go to, but we also think about resisting rotation. And so that's where a lot of times we'll use like a Pallof press. Maybe you're in a half kneeling or tall kneeling position. Exactly. Yeah, anti-rotation exercises, and you've got a band trying to pull you to the side, and you're going to press it out or press it above your head, and you're resisting that rotation. That's all going to work those muscles as well, which is equally important for rodeo athletes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I think of it, like, especially like in most of the riding events, but I think about it obviously, especially in the terms of bull riding, is everything you want everything to be straightforward, straight back, but it's never going to be. Like you're going to get pulled out over the outside shoulder, and then how are you going to get back? You have to be able to resist that force first of all, and then you have to be able to create a rotational force to get back to the middle. So like there's all of these different motions, and we'll kind of give exercise examples a little bit later about like how to hit some of these, but there's so many different motions that your trunk is responsible for, and on the flip side, it also has to resist all of those motions as well.
Absolutely, man. And the thing I love about anti-rotation exercises is it hits the pretty much every bit of the core. So when I'm fighting that rotation, right? Yes, my obliques are working, but I'm bracing with my transverse abdominis. I'm bracing with my rectus abdominis. Like everything is tight and engaged. So I have to use that whole thing, right? So I love it. And also earlier when we were explaining the core, I said the hip flexor group is a part of that. And I love putting in hip flexor exercises, hip flexor group exercise, whether it is your actual hip flexors, your adductors, your abductors, and plugging those into core exercises, whether it is just a static hold of, a side plank with an abduction, or oblique sling work is another big thing.
That's what I was going to say, is oblique sling is kind of like incorporating both of those, like your hip flexor group and the obliques at the same time.
Yeah. So oblique slings are going to connect our upper and lower extremities opposite sides. So right leg, left arm, they work together. So for instance, if I raise my right arm and my left leg, flip that, I'm going to be able to connect those opposite extremities, which in rodeo, we're constantly having to use opposite extremities and doing opposite motions with them. For instance, like lifting on your rig and setting your feet, you're doing two different motions, right? So in our exercises, if we can continually train those neural pathways and get those things to start firing better in the gym, that is only going to make your practice reps better on the spur board, on the stationary barrel, on the bucket machine. practice animals, rope and dummy, whatever it is, you have to create those neural pathways in training to get the results in the arena, right? And so it transfers from, you start doing your strength and conditioning work, you increase those pathways, that goes to your skill work. Then all of a sudden that competition, that performance state is way elevated and you're doing a lot better. You're seeing a lot more success. It's because you put in the reps throughout those times. But let's get into, I know we kind of just rattled off some exercise examples, but what's your go-tos for core exercises and the benefits from them?
So when you think about the core, like I was saying earlier, there's several different motions. Like your spine has to be able to flex. It has to be able to extend. You have lateral flexion. You can bend side to side. You can rotate. Your trunk or your shoulders and your hips are moving about, the same axis. And then you have to be able to resist all of those motions as well. Mm-hmm. So if we think about flexion, where you're bending forward, that's, your sit-ups and crunches. And that's about where most people's core training stops. Mm-hmm. And then you think about your extensor muscles. So then if you want to be able to extend, you could do something like back extensions. If you want to, like, anti-flexion, a little less common because some of this stuff kind of like a lot of it kind of goes into that. But like, say Superman holds, or a Sorensen hold on a GHD, which are insanely tough if you've never done them.
Those exercises right there are really important, I think, to just note out, because that is 100%. When you're looking at the exercises, you're like, that's working my back. Mm-hmm. That's working my glutes. No, that's the other side of your core, actually. That's bringing that all together. That's holding everything in line there. So that Sorensen hold, which is in a GHD or any way you can set it up, is extremely difficult, by the way. I remember when I was competing in CrossFit, the testing time to pass was a 2-minute hold. Mm-hmm. I think I got like 27 seconds the first time I did it. Like, what just happened? Super simple. But when you're riding bulls or bucking horses or anything, you're in that flexion, right? And you're having to constantly fight it. So doing those exercises, if you're having like lumbar problems, I'm not saying I'm not the guaranteed fix, but a lot of people that are having issues in shoulder issues or lower hip issues, and usually if they're opposite, so if it's like your free arm and then your other hip is hurting you, you're having you're overextended, overflexed. You need to work on those exercises. You need to do those things. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
No, absolutely. And then if you think about, okay, so where we left off at anti-flexion, so anti-extension, that's going to be like anything where you have your arms and legs extended and your back is going to want to round. So we think of like hollow holds where you're trying to keep your back pressed against the ground and you're trying to keep from extending, or dead bugs. Lateral flexion, side bends. A lot of people probably incorporate side bends. I would say that's a pretty common one. The mistake I see with side bends is holding equal weight in both hands, and then you're just a teeter-totter in the middle. Yeah. Only hold weight in one hand if you're going to do some side bends. Yeah. And then anti-lateral flexion. So my favorite one for these are like farmer carries. And people will be like, well, this isn't a core workout. I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, you're just,
if you do it correctly, it is.
Yeah. Side planks would probably be the common one for anti-lateral flexion. And then you need to be able to rotate and resist rotation as well. So think of Russian twists or wood chops with a band or cable. And then, like we mentioned earlier, to resist that, an anti-rotation would be like a Palloff press.
Absolutely. And we use every single one of these in our programming, every single one. They're getting plugged into everybody's training
programs. And this is
programs.
just the tip of the iceberg.
There's
there's hundreds more. Like, these are just some of the ones that were kind of coming off the top of the head.
Mm-hmm. And there's lots of ways that we plug in your core into your compound exercises as well. And I think, we got dead bug versions of floor presses. We have all kinds of things we can throw in there that are going to incorporate the core. I was showing those on my Instagram the other day, like working your oblique slings, but like a single arm overhead hold with that sprinter hold with a band, psoas hold. It's brutal, but it teaches you to work with both of those things in opposite fashion and stay tight and engaged the whole time, which is, again, what's happening in the arena a lot of times. Something that we've talked about getting strong, right? I mean, obviously you need to exercise your core to get strong, but what's the real missing link that you got to have the results especially if you want to see aesthetic goals in your core? Yeah. What's got to happen?
The 6-pack is made in the kitchen. like that's what everybody
Absolutely.
says, is that the six-pack is made in the kitchen, because your nutrition is going to be absolutely crucial when you come to talking about aesthetic goals. And nutrition's important for performance, obviously, as well. But aesthetically speaking, if you're wanting a strong, good-looking core, if you're just kind of training to, look good this summer and go to the pool, ab workouts are great, and you can do as many of them as you want to, and you definitely should still be doing that. But a proper diet is what's going to reveal all that hard work. So making sure that you're paying really close attention to your nutrition when you're looking at developing this core is crucial.
Yeah. And I think something really important to point out in just anything is you can't spot reduce fat anywhere.
Yes.
You can't just be like, I need to get rid of this fat on my lower belly, or I have fat under my arms, I just want to get rid of that. It does not work like that. Your body does not. You can't tell it to go burn fat in a specific area. You have to be feeding yourself well, appropriately, and in terms of your energy expenditure, what your goals are, and you have to be eating high quality foods. So staying away from processed foods, and really, really, you don't have to go nuts with this. You don't have to be a super crazy person that has to track every single thing, but you can get a lot of progress by, again, cutting out processed food and focusing on your protein, guys. And we've talked about this a lot on this show, is protein has got to be your number one focus from the second you get up to you go to sleep and you're eating, because you won't get it all in throughout the day if you don't put that intent into it and plan it out. It's also going to help curb your appetites or your cravings for some of those processed foods and some of those sweet things that maybe are holding you back. And it's only going to help your recovery. It's going to help you build muscle, and building muscle is the number one way to burn fat. And if we're doing that, we are getting jacked. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty simple. And when you look at it, and you don't have to be, a lot of people, that's what deters them, is they think they have to be super anal about it. And if you are, you'll see results quicker probably. But you can also go to the other unhealthy side of being too obsessed with it, which becomes not a good thing as well. So if you are someone that is, doesn't want to go all crazy with it, just start focusing on those few things. Eating unprocessed foods, eating whole foods, focusing on that protein. And I think hydration is another huge thing. Make sure you're drinking enough water, because a lot of cravings for food happen when we're dehydrated. A lot of times, and we talked about that recently, being hungry and actually you're thirsty. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah, I think we could spend so much time here, and I'm going to try and keep this brief. But like, if your main goal in life is to have that shredded six pack, like that's really going to come from males sub 10% body fat. And if you remember where we said the optimal body fat percentage for performance is 12 to 15. So there's a gap there. Like, you need to, if you're a rodeo athlete and you're listening to this, like, you need to understand like what your real goal is. Like, do you want to ride better, or do you want to look better? Because you can have both, but you're never going to be the best at either one of the things. If you're chasing, what's the saying? You chase two rabbits, you chase two rabbits, you catch neither of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, you need to understand like, where does your real goal lie? And if you just want to have a more visible six pack at that 12 to 15%, then, train your abs like you would any other muscle that you are for hypertrophy. Like, eat enough food. Mm-hmm.
Fuel yourself.
Take a rest day in between training your abs. Like, there's ways to go about it. But like I said, we could break that down for a whole nother podcast episode. But
absolutely. Yeah, but keeping it simple and just, for core strength purposes. I mean, honestly, for any purposes in athleticism or fitness, pay attention to your nutrition, guys. It's going to help your goals. It's going to help you get stronger. It's going to help you lose fat, build muscle, all of the things. Focus on that protein, and you're going to see big, big changes. To wrap this all up, if you're a rodeo athlete, like we said, and what Paul just went through, rewind that back and listen to all those core planes of movement, every single version that he went through. That's what's going to help you as a rodeo athlete. You have to be working on your entire core, not just one plane of movement. And I know there's tons of examples on our Instagram pages. You can go through all three of our pages, and there are, I don't even want to know how many core exercises there are on those pages. But you can get an endless amount of them there. Check them out. If you have questions, shoot us a DM. We'd love to answer questions. You guys got anything to wrap this up?
I think that pretty
No?
much nails it. Core
Guys,
training is more than crunches and
Yeah.
sit-ups, contrary to popular belief.
It
Get
is,
outside the
and-
box.
Yep. Absolutely. Get that core strong. It's going to help you with your quality of life, your success in the rodeo arena, whatever it is. It's definitely going to help. And you know, especially if you're getting old, like everyone's getting older, but you're in your 30s, start working on that now. So you have those strong muscles when you really need them when you get older. Because things like posture, flexibility, stability, I would venture to say that a lot of injuries as you get older happen because your core strength goes down. You are less stable. You fall over. Things happen. You break a hip. You do whatever. You bang your head. A lot of those things I think can be prevented by having a strong core and a strong and able body, right? So y'all get after it. We got to thank our sponsors, Beastmaster Rodeo. They are the top gear in professional rodeo. Hell, all rodeo. They are supplying all events. So, you know, whether you're a bull rider, bareback rider, timed event, stock contractor, they have anything you guys could need. They are constantly putting in a ton of research into what they're doing. I just had a big conversation with Nick the other day. He's actually coming out to the school, but we were just talking about everything he's diving into. He's bringing out some new stirrups for the saddle bronc riding that they've been designing, it's awesome. You know, he's not a saddle bronc rider, but he listens to what saddle bronc riders say, and he is fixing the problem and giving them a solution for it. You can use our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, caps lock, going to save you 10% on all their products. Again, they have way more than just saddle bronc stirrups. They have bull ropes, protective gear, ropes, flanks, like all the things, practice gear, I think they're coming out with. I saw
They're
a
working on a
prototype
new
for
training device. Yeah,
I saw that for calf
ropers.
roping, which is, dude, they're changing the game with it. So use our discount code, show them some love, and they will also have your gear out the door that day. You know, for the most part, and it'll be in your hands quickly. Which is, man, that's, to me, that just shows the customer service aspect of it. And I know if you have any issues with their gear, you can call, email, and they will be working it out and working on the issue instantly. But check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Again, our discount code CHAMPIONLIVING, all one word, going to save you 10% on all their products. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.